The autumn will be equally brief, but more violent. In this land of giants, the tang of conflict hangs in the air. Graceful weapons, unlike anything else on Earth, have reached their full majesty. Masters and contenders eye each other in a foul mood. When tempers flare, the largest antlers on Earth, sometimes as wide as a man is tall, spearhead the dangerous dance. It is a battle of sheer will and power. Bloodied but unbowed, a master retains his crown and the chance to leave a legacy. It has taken him 10 years to reach this point. Perhaps 100 of his peers have died or failed along the way. By the end of October, it's all over, and the valley falls silent again. This is a tale of triumph that nearly defies belief. For all of its imposing bulk and power, the moose is somewhat strange in the details. Its legs seem far too spindly to hold up its massive body. The creature has a muscular hump to support its amazing headgear, antlers that can weigh up to 32 kilos. Its long head ends in a fleshy and versatile snout that calls to mind a camel's. And then there's the pendulous sac that hangs from the neck, known as a bell. Whether it's there to impress the females or intimidate other males, no one knows for sure. Two meters tall at the shoulder, with neck and head reaching up to 2.5 meters, the largest bulls can weigh nearly a ton. But size alone is not enough to survive amongst their deadly neighbors. When predators give chase, the moose's long legs can propel them at speeds of up to 56 kilometers an hour. They're actually members of the deer family, the largest on Earth. Once the mating season is over, other troubles loom. This is the time to prepare. There is a long and lean winter on the horizon. The name moose comes from the Algonquin word mose, meaning twig eater. Young leaves and twigs of willow and birch are their favorite foods. But with the onset of heavy snow and ice, they will have to subsist largely on tree bark and needles. Soon the bulls will drop their antlers. Next year, they will have to grow them all over again. An enormous biological investment that will determine their reproductive fates. Alaska's legendary winters test the most powerful of creatures. It is a desperate time for many. The moose's long, rangy legs become a vital asset. Winter here is particularly hard on pregnant females. But snug inside this floundering mother's womb, a 3-month-old fetus is quickening. Often the result of last fall's mating would be twins, but this one is alone in the uterus, probably a boon for its struggling mother. Already the signature characteristics of the species are taking shape. The season takes its toll. Predators, cold, and starvation will take many of Denali's oldest and youngest moose. But even in Alaska, winter finally comes to an end. Now the sun struggles high enough in the sky to usher in the thaw. Melting snow transforms the landscape in spectacular ways. By May, as if to make up for its winter cruelty, Alaska's wilderness explodes with color and new growth. Everywhere the trees are sprouting tender shoots for the moose to browse. Heavy with their calves, mothers make the most of the new vegetation. It's time for the good life for everyone, but the yearlings. For nearly a year, his mother has been his constant companion and guardian. But now, she has a new calf on the way. She wants only solitude now. And it's no use throwing tantrums. The mother's time has come. After almost 8 months in the womb, the female's calf is more than ready to make its debut on the grand stage of Denali. A slippery newborn makes a shaky entrance into the light of day. Within minutes, the still wet calf struggles gamely, if unsuccessfully, to get to its feet. Mother offers encouraging licks, bonding fiercely to her youngster. This little one faces an uphill battle in these wilds. With bears, wolves, and the harshness of this place, almost half of newborns won't even survive their first few weeks. For most of Alaska's creatures, spring means making up for the long months of hunger. The Denali Range is home to hundreds of different species of animals. And whether hooved, feathered, or clawed, it's time to bring young into the world. But not everyone fully appreciates the arrival of other creatures' young. Mother has instinctively chosen this isolated spot for her birth site, and she and her newborn are quiet among the leaf litter. With predators about, caution is everything. The ungainly baby is up and about already, and within 3 days, it will be able to run and swim to keep up with its watchful parent. One of the hallmarks of the moose is its amazing adaptability. Even when man stakes his claim in this wilderness, the moose senses opportunity. Welcome to Anchorage, Alaska's largest city, seasonal home to a remarkable number of moose. Ribbons of green along the city's roads create highways for wildlife into the suburbs. Moose sometimes seem as common as speed bumps. The human population reacts to their presence with everything from enthusiasm to bemused tolerance.
He's scared.
To resigned irritation.
Oh no, get him! He's gonna eat all my hyacinths.
In this snug backyard, a suburban mother moose has just given birth to twins. Despite the seemingly peaceful surroundings, instinct tells her to eat the placenta to eliminate as much of the scent from her newborns as possible. But the wolf-like creatures in the neighborhood don't seem quite as dangerous as their wild brethren. City life offers its advantages and disadvantages. Urban moose seem impervious to the strange roaring machines of humans. Vegetation along the city's roads provides food and protection. Predators are not as comfortable here, but there is still terrible danger. The life of the urban moose can be a bit of a puzzle. All kinds of perplexing objects confront them at every turn.
No, 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 no. You stay out.
With a mix of curiosity and persistence, they take in their surroundings. Despite some humorous scenarios, looks are deceiving. The gentle moose can prove to be unpredictable. When startled or teased, moose have trampled people, even killed them. Anchorage is not the only place in which moose have had perilous encounters. Moose exists solely on the planet's Northern Hemisphere, a testament to its resourcefulness and adaptability. They inhabit great swathes of Asia, the Americas, and Europe. In countries like Norway, the moose population is growing. More and more of the animals are showing up in towns and cities, and experts fear the forests can no longer support the animals. Moose on the roads are incredibly dangerous. A massive body suspended on long, spindly legs makes for catastrophic collisions. Crashes often fatal for both the moose and passengers. Experts estimate that well over 10,000 moose collisions occur annually around the world. In the last 10 years, this has resulted in hundreds of human fatalities. But often, it is neither the steel nor furred giants that kill the titanic moose. It is the smallest and cruelest of things. In the farmlands of Alberta, Canada, pale and wretched animals haunt the area. Something is literally draining the life out of them. It is the winter tick, as full and bloated as its host is starving. It's estimated that ticks can drain a moose calf of half its blood. One dead adult moose was found with over 100,000 engorged ticks latched onto it. The trouble begins in late summer, when ticks the size of grains of sand congregate by the thousands at the optimal height to encounter a moose. Here, they wait. When a moose forages, the carbon dioxide in its breath makes the ticks appear to bloom as they reach and grasp. The hapless moose doesn't even notice as they latch on. Strings of them. The now grape-sized ticks are taking a last blood meal. Afterwards, the swollen females will drop off to lay their eggs, and the deadly cycle begins again. Infested animals like these are called ghost moose because their pale skin shows through. They rub off their coats in a futile attempt to rid themselves of the parasites. In search of food and shelter, the ghost moose can become a threat to humans.
None of us enjoy having to put down these animals, but once they reach this type of body condition and show up in people's yards, it really leaves us no choice. Oh, there he is.
Now it gets stupid. It's going to go into that lane.
Robert Lamont and Lyle Fullerton of the Alberta Fish and Game Service have responded to more moose calls in the past decade than ever before.
I think we moved it.
I'm going to come through this bush here towards you. Oh, never mind. I see him moving now.
At first, they will try to drive the animal back into the wilderness.
Yeah, it's walking towards you. Go moose! Go moose!
But even shooting blanks can't send the weak animal packing. The moose simply slips into some brush.
I'm not so sure it's alive. Well, sure enough, this moose passed away right in front of us here. I think I saw some males.
Oh, look at this. Just crawling. Ticks.
Yeah, bad. It's probably anemic.
That is bad.
Yeah.
I spent 3 months taking that coat off, scratching ticks for 3 months. Yeah. That's a terrible way to die.
For now, the problem is largely confined to the southern reaches of the moose's habitat. But as the world warms, Alaska may face the same terrible plague. Back in Denali, a mother moose greedily eats for herself and her nursing calf. Moose milk is twice as nutritious as cow's milk, feeding a ravenous hunger. Babies will have to pack on nearly 90 kilos before fall. Newborns will not try solid foods for a few weeks, as calves have no bacteria in their stomachs to digest tough plant material. They get the bacteria they need now from their mother's saliva and constant licking and nuzzling. In Anchorage, the urban moose family is also faring well. They travel from backyard to backyard, sampling garden goodies. The youngsters prove especially irresistible to their human neighbors. Everyone takes in the idyllic spring spectacle. But in Alaska, no one can afford to take Mother Nature lightly. Bears, too, will follow Anchorage's greenways into town when hungry enough. And as communities make deeper inroads into the wilds, confrontations become inevitable. The grizzly bear, seemingly bewildered by all the noise, has nonetheless caught the scent of calves. The mother and twins, now thoroughly at home in their adopted neighborhood, have not caught wind of trouble. For the moment, the bear decides he's had enough of life among the strange creatures and their loud ways. The moose family heads for its favorite backyard to bed down for the evening. But as dusk settles over Anchorage and humans settle in for the night, predators grow bold. The mother seems to sense something is wrong. The calves, picking up on her unease, grow restless, a mistake when predators are near. Alaskans are used to wild things going bump in the night, but tonight is filled with sounds of serious violence. Although the bear saunters away with its kill, it's best to leave such things alone until the light of day. Morning breaks to a heart-wrenching scene. The bear has killed both calves. Wandering from yard to yard, the bereft mother can't seem to help looking for her little ones. After feasting on the calf the night before, the bear half buried the carcasses. Now he returns to finish his meal. Even in Alaska, where such harsh realities spill over into the human arena, this is a chilling situation. There is little in nature more dangerous than a grizzly bear on its kill. Instinct will lead the mother out along the roads of the city to make her way into the wilderness again, and perhaps to give birth another year. The bear may have had his fill and seems well pleased with himself, but he will not be allowed to live. Once such a dangerous animal has come to associate human backyards with food, the menace to people is too great. Summer has come to Denali National Park, bringing with it almost round-the-clock daylight. Now, the calf has joined its mother in browsing the tender summer leaves, but it will continue to nurse for another few months. His chances of surviving get better by the week. They are most vulnerable to wolves and bears in their first few days, but he's not out of the woods yet. Another 50% of calves may fall victim to predation before the year is out. With such keen predators about, the moose has remarkably heightened senses compared to our own. Its eyesight may not be as acute, but it can actually move its eyes independently, thus surveying the landscape in 360 degrees, even directly behind it. The moose has a keen sense of smell. Millions of dedicated nerve endings in the snout sniff out and interpret the faintest whiff of an odor. With constantly swiveling ears, the moose can pick up the slightest rustle. Without the element of surprise, even the wolf has a hard time taking on mother moose. One of the most striking things about the moose is its affinity with water. It's so at home here, the animal is a veritable marine mammal. The moose's nostrils act as a valve to keep water out as the animal pulls plants from shallow waterways. It's been recorded that moose can hold their breath while browsing underwater for up to a minute, and they can uproot plants in 5 meters of water. Each animal requires up to 27 kilograms of food a day. But most importantly, the aquatic plants provide many of the minerals the moose need to get them through the harsh winters. Through the spring and summer, one of the most remarkable transformations in the natural world has been taking place. The males have sprouted the first tiny buds of antlers with astonishing speed. The antlers can grow over 3 inches a week, some of the fastest growing mammalian tissue on Earth. A fuzzy layer of special skin called velvet makes such spectacular growth possible. Highly sensitive, packed with nerves and blood vessels, the delicate velvet may discourage the bulls from sparring until their racks are fully grown and hardened. The majestic result, the largest antlers of any mammal in the world. After it has served its purpose, the velvet needs to come off with a vengeance. Obsessively, the bulls rub their racks against trees, rocks, and logs, shedding their velvet into a bloody mess. The sharp points of the antlers emerge first, a glimpse of things to come. As the mating season approaches, rubbing becomes a full-time job. Hormones inside the bull's body start to boil. Soon, things will get very serious indeed. It's now late summer in Alaska, though the icy pinnacle of Denali remains immune to warmth. The brief season of sunshine and abundance begins to drift away on the wind. In Anchorage, the more fortunate mothers muster their young to trek out of the suburbs. They are heading towards higher, wilder grounds. The moose exodus means the time of the rut is approaching. In the heights above the city, bulls await them and brace themselves for what's to come. "320 kilometers to the north, chilly, misty mornings herald the approach of autumn. A moose bull in his prime shows off his splendid antlers. He jousts loudly with the vegetation for the benefit of cows and fellow bulls alike. The largest antlers make a different sound to the smaller ones, announcing size and status to anyone who might be listening. The females take notice, and a chemically choreographed ritual begins. The bull digs shallow pits in the ground, then urinates into them extravagantly. These rut pits give off the scent of sexual readiness and dominant status. He has the cow's full attention. Females from all around begin to gather, intrigued. One approaches, sniffs approvingly, and settles in to wallow, indulging in his perfume and probably hastening her ovulation. Other females wander into the arena to bask in his urine-drenched pits. The bull samples her perfume with nostrils flared and lips curled back, a behavior called flamen that allows him to savor her pheromones with his nerve-filled palate. A particularly sexy beast can be quite a draw, sparking a competition among the females for the right to roll in his heady brew. Unlike other members of the deer family, it's not just the males who will do the fighting and choosing in this battlefield. Spats among the females can get downright ugly. This male, having proved his irresistibility to so many females, becomes choosy. He chases off a less desirable female, much to her dismay. Now the bull must keep a careful eye on his choice harem until they're fully receptive, while maintaining ceaseless vigilance against any covetous contenders. Nearby, young bulls try to work off their frustration on each other. It'll be years before their racks and their urine pits will announce that they're truly in their prime. Most know their place and stick to half-hearted jousting with peers. But every once in a while, a young one gets uppity and makes a move on one of the cows. If he's lucky, he'll be able to run away unharmed. But not all will be so easily intimidated. Other bulls entering their prime and bearing equally impressive headgear are drawn to the scent of the cows. Here in Denali, the stage is awash in testosterone, and trouble can't be far behind. The bulls are ready to rumble. With the rut in full swing, a come-hither look from a moose cow brings the dominant bull running. The females are getting more and more receptive, showing their approval of the big bull's status by contributing their pheromone-laden urine to his rut pits. With his exquisitively sensitive nose, he checks on a cow's readiness. He seems pleased with the results. At 11 years old, he is truly a picture of a bull in his prime. 680 kilograms, 2 meters high at the shoulder, with a 2-meter rack. It's no wonder the cows find him attractive. But there's trouble on the horizon. A younger and equally impressive bull. The challenger approaches, waving his great antlers from side to side. The master responds. These rituals of intimidation are usually enough to determine who will dominate, thus avoiding the risk of injury in a fight. The females have a keen interest in the outcome. Like prize fighters, they stare each other down, circle, and wait for an opening. Finally, they clash. With equally matched bulls, a battle may last up to half an hour or more. But the older bull soon gains the upper hand. He batters the challenger unmercifully. Abruptly, the contest is decided. The master will return to his harem. The younger one paid the price for his bid to reproduce. In this unforgiving place, his wounded leg may spell doom. The victor has urgent business to tend to. In this ever-shifting landscape of conflict, dominance may only last a few days, or even just a few hours. After the thunder of the contest, the courting is quiet, an almost tender affair. The actual act, rarely witnessed, lasts no more than a few seconds. But the vital purpose of the complex rituals of the moose has been accomplished. Having survived the summer against the odds,